People say children protect their parents when life tilts. I used to trust that truth the way sailors trust a lighthouse. But truths can bend when money and fear get involved. Sometimes, protect, quietly, means control. I'm Nora Bennett, 59, an accountant who once balanced everyone else's books and forgot my own margins. I live, temporarily, between hospital corridors and Maple Crest recovery outside Portland, though my heart is already drifting towards Seabrook Cove on the coast. My symbol of independence is small and steady, a brass lighthouse keychain looped through the house keys I earned one double shift at a time. The shock comes fast. My card declines for a simple room upgrade and streaming add-on. I call the bank, slow speech fighting with a tongue the stroke tried to steal. There's a hold due to a pending guardianship, the rep says. Petitioners, Lucas Bennett, Aaron Whitlow, Devin Bennett. My children. I taste metal. A nurse asks if I'm okay. I nod because the answer doesn't fit inside any word I can form. 30 minutes later, Aaron arrives with lilies and a brochure for supportive living, speaking in a tone reserved for toddlers and very old dogs. Lucas checks his watch and mentions the market being ideal for selling my house. Devin scrolls, asking the doctor if cognitive decline has a billing code. Something larger is moving under their kindness. Something with numbers and signatures. If you were me, what would you do? Drop it in the comments. I read everyone. Present tense recollection. I raised them alone after their father ghosted our life like a bad debt. I worked sunrise inventory and midnight reconciliations. I learned how to stretch pasta, pride, and paycheck in equal measure. I kept their cleats dry on radiator grates and spelled mitochondria on science fair posters. On their graduation days, I smiled from the bleachers and promised myself the house with the apricot tree would finally become mine. At Maple Crest, I let the mask slip over my face. I fumble for words. I forget the day. I let Erin pat my hand, her ring flashing, one I helped her choose back when love looked like solvency. Meanwhile, I count. Whispers in hallways, text bubbles lighting Lucas's phone. I note escrow, listing photos, POA, Devin's browser tab on adult guardianship basics. I pocket every detail like receipts for an audit. Nadia Tran, my physical therapist, sees through me. "You're fighting like hell," she says, steadying my elbow as I relearn stairs. "For what?" "My life," I whisper. That night, I press the lighthouse keychain into my palm until the edges bite. I draft a plan on a paper napkin, regain speech, move left foot without the walker, gather documents, smile when they say, "It's for your own good." I add one more line, find an ally outside the family. By morning, I'm still. On paper, I'm compliant. In truth, suspicion has hardened into decision. I will let them believe I'm drifting. I am not. I am plotting a tide change. At Maple Crest, days are scheduled like ledger columns. Therapy at 9, meals at noon, vitals at 3. I keep to the routine, but inside, I run my own calculations. Every hour I practice words under my breath, forcing syllables into shape until my tongue remembers. Every step with the walker becomes a rehearsal for walking out of here on my terms. My children believe they've boxed me in. Erin breezes through with updates, smiling as if she's narrating a lifestyle ad. "Mom, the assisted living place has a garden." "You'll love it." Lucas asks me to sign routine authorizations, sliding papers over my tray while I'm still groggy from meds. I let the pen hover, then scrawl something barely legible. He beams, thinking compliance is proof of decline. Devin barely looks up from his phone, but I catch glimpses of his notes, crypto talk, loan applications. He's already spending what isn't his. At night, Maple Crest quiets. The hallway clock ticks loud as a gavel. I lie awake, rehearsing the words I'll need when I confront them. Sometimes my chest aches, not from the stroke, but from remembering the years I worked, 2 jobs so Lucas could intern unpaid, so Erin could afford the ring she flashed yesterday, so Devin could change majors 3 times without debt. The betrayal is not just theft, it's erasure of all those sacrifices. I decide to test my reach. Maple Crest still has an old desktop in the common lounge. I ask Nadia to help me check email, slurring enough that she believes it's for distraction. Once alone, I type painfully slow, one key at a time. Message: Frank, it's Nora. They're taking everything. I need help. Come if you can. Frank is my late sister's husband, the family's black sheep who lives on the coast near Seabrook Cove. My children dismissed him as unreliable, which makes him perfect. They won't suspect him. 3 days later, Nadia whispers while adjusting my brace, "There's a man in the lobby asking for you. He says he's your brother-in-law." My pulse leaps. Frank looks like time and salt air carved him. Long gray ponytail, weathered jacket, eyes still sharp. He sits by my bed, duffel bag at his feet. "Jesus, Nora," he says low and blunt. "You look like hell." A croak escapes me, part laugh, part sob. For the first time since the stroke, someone looks at me, not through me. I tell him everything. The guardianship petition, the frozen accounts, the sale talk, the way my children pat my hand like I'm already gone. His jaw tightens. "Ungrateful little..." He cuts himself off, shakes his head. "What do you need?" "Time," I whisper. "And one person I can trust." I tell him about the emergency fund, $68,000 tucked in a small credit union account from selling my parents' farm years ago. My children don't know it exists. Frank nods slowly. "We'll move it." Quietly. The plan forms between us. Let them think they've won. Meanwhile, I'll grow stronger, and Frank will secure the lifeboat. That night, as the ward lights dim, I lie awake gripping the lighthouse keychain. My children see a burden, Frank sees a fighter, and I see at last a way out. The next morning, I push harder in therapy than I ever have. Nadia cheers when I take 3 unassisted steps, but I keep my face blank. Let my children think I'm frail. Let the staff think I'm merely stubborn. Every stumble is fuel, every bruise a reminder that I am not finished. Frank slips back in the following day with a manila envelope tucked inside his jacket. "Credit union moved the money," he mutters, handing me a new debit card with my name embossed. "Only you can access it now." Safe relief spreads through me, sharp as oxygen after being underwater. When Erin visits that afternoon, she brings tulips and smiles wide. "Mom, we found you the perfect room at Sunny Haven." The staff are angels, and the house sold over asking. Amazing, right? I press my lips into a thin smile. "Wonderful," I manage, voice still slightly slow. She pats my hand like I'm a child. I nod vacantly, masking the burn inside my chest. After she leaves, I wheel myself to the lounge window. Outside, I catch my reflection. Hair cropped short from the hospital, skin pale, but my eyes clear, steady. Erin doesn't see them. None of them do. That blindness is my advantage. That night, Frank and I whisper like conspirators. He's mapped the exit. Sunday night. Staff shift change at 10. I'll pull the van around back. We'll be gone before anyone notices fear coils in my gut, but so does exhilaration. My children think they're weeks away from signing me into Sunny Haven, papers stacked neatly on Lucas's desk. Let them. By then, I'll be breathing sea air in Seabrook Cove, not antiseptic fumes. I practice with the walker again, forcing one more step than yesterday. My body trembles, but my will steadies. "What are you fighting for?" Nadia asks, noticing my clenched jaw. "My freedom," I whisper, surprising even myself with the ferocity in my voice. In the hall, I overhear Lucas's voice through a half-closed door. "Once the guardianship's official, we can access the retirement accounts too. It's just paperwork now." Erin laughs softly. Dylan mutters something I can't catch, but the tone is dismissive. I close my eyes, grip the walker until my knuckles whiten. For my own good, they say. For convenience, I know. They see a fading woman. They don't see the ledger I'm keeping. Every slight, every theft, every word. Debts will be paid. With interest. 3 nights from now, I'll be gone. And when they realize it, The real reckoning begins. Sunday arrives, cloaked in routine. Aaron stops by with lemon muffins, chirping about how happy I'll be once I'm settled at Sunny Haven. Lucas checks his watch 3 times during our visit, impatient to leave for some dinner reservation. Dylan doesn't appear at all. Perfect. Their complacency is my camouflage. After evening rounds, Maple Crest grows hushed. Lights dim, televisions flicker low in common rooms, and the night nurse settles into her station. I sit in my wheelchair, heart hammering against my ribs, the lighthouse keychain cold in my palm. At 10:07, Frank materializes in the shadow of the side corridor, hair tucked under a cap. He pushes an empty laundry cart. "Ready?" he whispers. "As I'll ever be," I rasp. He maneuvers me into the cart, blankets piled on top. The world narrows to muffled wheels squeaking across linoleum. My pulse thrums so loud I'm certain the nurse will hear it. We pass her station. She doesn't look up. Outside, the night air shocks my lungs. The van door slides shut, sealing the escape. Frank grips the wheel, jaw tight, headlights slicing through darkness as Maple Crest recedes in the rear view. 5 hours later, dawn paints the horizon in ribbons of pink and gray. The ocean appears suddenly, vast and relentless. Frank's cabin sits on a bluff above Seabrook Cove. Weathered wood, salt-streaked windows, a new ramp nailed hurriedly to the porch. "It's nothing fancy," he mutters, unloading my bags. "It's freedom," I say, breath catching at the sight of waves pounding the shore. Inside, the cabin smells of pine and sea brine. The furniture is mismatched, the heat a stubborn wood stove, but it feels more like home than any sterile ward. I sink into a worn armchair, exhaustion crashing over me, yet my chest feels lighter than it has in months. Frank places a mug of tea in my hands. "So what's the plan, Nora?" I sip slowly, the warmth spreading through me. First, I get stronger. Then, I get everything back. My house, my accounts, my name. He nods, respect flickering in his eyes. "And your kids?" I stare at the lighthouse keychain, thumb tracing its grooves. They made their choice. Now I'll make mine through the cabin window. The sea surges against rock, steady and merciless. I know then. This is only the beginning. Life at the cabin falls into rhythm. Mornings with the sea, afternoons with exercises, evenings plotting at Frank's kitchen table. My body resists, but I push anyway. Each step with the cane is a rebellion, each word spoken cleanly, a small reclamation. Frank arranges for a local therapist, Marjorie, semi-retired, blunt as salt air. She visits twice a week, paid in cash from the credit union account my children know nothing about. "You've got fire in you," she says after I walk across the room unaided. Most would have given up by now. "Giving up is what they're counting on," I reply, chest heaving. Meanwhile, Frank keeps his ear to the ground. Over dinner coffee, he hears scraps from an old friend in town. My children reported me missing. At first, the police cared, but after Maple Crest staff confirmed I left willingly, the case fizzled. Now, Aaron blames Lucas for mishandling paperwork. Lucas accuses Dylan of hiding me, and Dylan mutters about being cut out entirely. "They're eating each other alive," Frank says one night, dropping the local paper on the table. Emma's kitchen renovation stalled. Lucas's new SUV already has a for sale ad online. Dylan's startup pitch collapsed. I should feel satisfaction. Instead, I feel a hollow twist. This is what they chose, but the grief still cuts. I write in a notebook every evening, not letters of apology or nostalgia, but ledgers. I list everything they've taken: my home sold without consent, my car handed off, my accounts drained. On the opposite page, I write what they cannot touch: my mind, my will, my history. One night, Frank asks quietly, "Do you want them punished, or do you want them to understand?" The question lingers like smoke. Punishment is easy. Understanding is harder. Maybe impossible. At the diner, Darlene the waitress always reserves the corner booth with the ocean view. She slips me extra pie, calls me honey, and tells me I'm looking stronger each week. She doesn't know it, but those small kindnesses steady me more than any cane. 3 months in, I walk the bluff without support. Wind tears through my hair, salt stings my lips, and I laugh, really laugh, for the first time since the stroke. I'm not cured, but I'm no longer captive. That night, I close my ledger notebook and write one line across the bottom. Next step, face them. The sea roars outside as if in agreement. Autumn sharpens the air in Seabrook Cove. The morning smell of wood smoke and salt, and each day my legs carry me farther. By now, I can climb the cabin steps without Frank's arm. Marjorie beams when I show her. "You're proving every doctor wrong," she says. I just nod, because proving my children wrong matters more. Frank keeps me updated. Lucas is drowning in debt. Aaron's shiny new kitchen is half finished. Dylan's startup folded before it began. He smirks. They're clawing at each other like gulls over scraps. But one evening, Frank returns from town with a different report. Emma says police are sniffing around. Elder abuse, financial exploitation. Neighbors must have noticed how fast they sold your place. The words land heavy, but not with fear, with clarity. Their lies are catching up. Part 6. B. 2 weeks later, it happens. I'm sipping coffee at the diner counter when the bell jingles. Dylan walks in, thinner, nervous, eyes darting until they lock with mine. My hand freezes around the cup. "Mom," he breathes, sliding onto the stool beside me. "We thought you were dead." "I left a note," I say evenly. He runs a hand through his hair, looking younger than he has in years. "That's not an explanation." "You disappeared." "You mean I escaped?" I correct. He flinches. "Please, just come back." "The police are investigating. If you tell them you're fine, that we didn't force you, they'll stop digging." There it is. Not love, not remorse, self-preservation. Cruel, I say quietly, is watching me learn to walk again while you divide my things. Cruel is selling my home while I still breathe. He looks away, ashamed. It wasn't like that. Not for me. Lou and Aaron, they pushed. I went along because... His voice trails off. Because it was easy. I finish for him. Silence stretches. Then he blurts, "Let us fix this." Please, I sip my coffee, savoring the bitter edge. "You want me to lie for you?" "To erase what you did," he doesn't deny it. "Tell your brother and sister," I say finally. "Tomorrow, Harbor Inn, noon, all 3 of you, or I vanish again, this time for good." His eyes widen. "Mom, those are my terms." I pay Darlene in cash, cane steady as I stand. Dylan watches me leave, his expression a mix of fear and something else. Hope, maybe. But I can't afford to hope. Not yet. The next morning, I rise before dawn. The sea outside restless, as if it knows what's coming. My notebook lies open on the table, ledgers of betrayal on one side, blank pages waiting on the other. Today, I intend to start filling those blanks with accountability. Frank drives me to the Harbor Inn. The conference room is beige and sterile, a far cry from the storm building inside me. We arrive early. He sets up my laptop, slides 3 folders across the table. Agreements we drafted last night. Each one demands restitution. The house proceeds, what remains of my accounts, liquidation of anything they purchased with my money. At noon sharp, the door opens. Dylan shuffles in first, shoulders hunched. Aaron follows, eyes sharp but ringed with fatigue. Lucas comes last, still trying to project control but looking frayed at the edges. They stop short when they see me upright, with only a cane, eyes clear. "Mom," Aaron says carefully, "you look different." "Strong enough to be declared competent," I reply coolly. Lucas clears his throat. "We've been worried sick." "The police?" "Are investigating you," I cut in, "for elder abuse and fraud. Don't dress it up." They exchange nervous glances. I let the silence weigh. Then slide the folders forward. These are agreements. Return every dollar, transfer back what you stole, and I won't press charges. You have 3 days. This is extortion, Lucas snaps. This is accountability, I correct. Something none of you seem to understand. Aaron's eyes gloss with tears. We were scared. You were so fragile after the stroke. We didn't mean... Didn't mean? My voice sharpens. While I fought to speak again, you sold my home. While I learned to walk, you carved up my life like vultures. They fall silent, guilt flickering across faces once smug with control. You have 3 days, I repeat, standing with slow, deliberate strength. Fail, and the video testimony I recorded yesterday goes straight to the authorities, along with medical proof of my competence. I lean on my cane, steady as a judge. The choice is yours. Their stunned silence follows me out into the hallway. My legs tremble, but my spirit does not. Frank squeezes my shoulder. You've got them cornered, Nora. Now we see what they're really made of, I nod, though my chest aches. Cornering them isn't victory yet. What comes next will reveal whether they fear consequence or finally understand loss. The 3 days drag like weighted chains. I pace the cabin floor with my cane, forcing myself to stay steady, rehearsing every possible outcome. Frank checks the phone constantly. No calls, no signatures delivered, only silence. On the 3rd day, just before noon, the knock comes. Dylan stands on the porch, pale and wrung out. Behind him, Erin clutches a folder to her chest, and Lucas carries a leather briefcase, like a shield. Inside, we sit across the table again. The air hums with tension. Erin is the first to speak. We've signed, she says, sliding the papers toward me with trembling hands. The money, the house proceeds, what's left, it's all being transferred back. I study her face. No smugness, just exhaustion. Lucas clears his throat. We've also arranged to sell what we bought. My car, Erin's renovations, Dylan's investments. It won't cover everything, but it's something. Why the change of heart, I ask, voice flat. Dylan leans forward, eyes raw. Because we finally talked. Really talked. About how wrong we were. About how scared we were when you got sick. We thought controlling everything meant protecting you, but it was just cowardice. For a moment, I see flashes of the children I raised. Erin clutching her first spelling trophy. Lucas in his soccer uniform, Dylan asleep with his stuffed fox. My throat tightens. This isn't forgiveness, I say slowly. This is restitution. Trust is earned, not signed. They nod, subdued. Erin whispers, Can we try to rebuild? The room tilts with silence until Frank clears his throat. It's her decision. I look each of them in the eye. You'll attend family therapy, weekly, together. If you skip, the video goes public. You'll prove with actions, not words, that I'm not a burden, but a person. And until then, my life is mine, not yours. Tears spill down Erin's cheeks, but she nods. Lucas presses his lips tight, then signs his agreement again as if to anchor it. Dylan whispers, We'll try. I gather the folders, stack them neatly. My hand shakes slightly, but not from weakness, from the weight of possibility, painful, fragile possibility. As they leave, Frank mutters, Didn't think they'd bend. They haven't bent yet, I reply. They've only been reminded what breaking looks like. Through the window, I watch them walk away. Not triumphant, not united. Just 3 fractured souls carrying the cost of what they almost destroyed. The following weeks reshape everything. I rent a small office above the Port Haven bakery. 2 rooms, 1 desk, and a window that smells of bread each morning. A gold-lettered sign on the door reads, Taylor Accounting Services. My children don't know it yet, but while they rebuild my finances on paper, I am rebuilding my independence in practice. Therapy continues, though now it's more than physical. Family sessions begin in a modest counselor's office near the harbor. The first meeting is brittle silence. Erin fiddles with her ring. Lucas jots notes as if preparing for trial. Dylan stares at the carpet. The therapist, a calm woman named Dr. Patel, starts with one question. Why are you here? I'm here, I answer, because my children mistook guardianship for love. My voice doesn't tremble. They flinch, but Dr. Patel nods. And why are you 3 here? Aaron whispers. Because we want another chance. Lucas adds, and because we don't want to lose her completely. Dylan just says, because she asked us to. It isn't healing yet, but it's a beginning. At home, Frank helps me sort through the boxes he salvaged from my old house. Family photos, my father's pocket watch, the lighthouse keychain. I line them on a shelf in the cabin, each one proof of what I carried forward despite them. One evening, Dylan comes by alone. He lingers on the porch before speaking. I paid back my share. Sold the gadgets, even the watch Emma gave me. I thought it would feel like punishment, but it feels like relief. For the first time in months, I believe him. The next week, Aaron arrives with tulips, fresh, not for show. I signed up for a financial literacy course, she says. I want to learn what you know. Lucas is slower to soften, but during the 3rd therapy session, when I falter with a word, he quietly mouths it, not to correct, but to support. It lands heavier than any apology. Meanwhile, I notice the town seeing me differently. At the diner, Darlene introduces me proudly. This is Nora, the woman who walked out of Maple Crest stronger than when she went in. At the market, people ask me for tax advice, small business tips. Respect, once eroded in my own family, is rebuilding itself among strangers. At night, I sit on the porch and let the ocean wind wrap around me. The ache of betrayal is still there, but now it shares space with something new, momentum. My ledger notebook lies open, but the right-hand page, the column for what they cannot take, grows longer each day. For the first time, I write a new line, possibility, because survival is no longer enough. Now I want life. 6 months after my escape, Port Haven feels less like a refuge and more like a rebirth. My office above the bakery hums with new clients, fishermen needing help with taxes, shopkeepers seeking advice, even the mayor dropping by to ask about municipal audits. Each handshake reminds me I am no one's burden. Family therapy continues. Progress is uneven but visible. Erin has stopped treating me like a fragile figurine. She listens now, really listens, when I speak. Lucas is slower, but Dr. Patel calls his guardedness the armor of guilt, and even he shows cracks. Like last week, when he admitted, I was terrified of losing you, so I tried to control you. Dylan surprises me most. He visits often, sometimes just to fix a loose board on the porch or bring coffee. He doesn't always have the right words, but he shows up. Yet trust remains a cautious guest. When I host them for Sunday dinner at the cabin, I set one table. No columns, no shadows. As we eat chowder Frank made, I lay down the rule. Respect is the price of entry. You fail, the door closes. Their silence tells me they understand. Frank becomes more than an ally. He is the witness who saw me when no one else did. Sometimes we sit by the fire in easy quiet, the kind born only of trust. Other times he teases me, your cane's just a prop now, admit it. And I laugh. Not because he's wrong, but because laughter feels natural again. Dr. Morgan, the physician who first studied my recovery, still writes me emails curious about my progress. His last one ended with a line that startled me. Have you considered speaking publicly? Your story could help others reclaim themselves after crisis. I haven't answered yet, but the idea lingers. One evening, I walk the bluff alone. The ocean crashes below, relentless and freeing. I hold the lighthouse keychain tight, its metal warm from my palm. My children tried to strip me of everything, but here I stand, stronger, clearer, unhidden. I think about the ledger I once kept of betrayals. The left-hand column will never vanish. Those wounds are part of me. But the right-hand side, the column for what they cannot take, outgrows it now. Freedom, dignity, respect, even the fragile beginnings of forgiveness. When I turn back toward the cabin, I see the windows glowing with firelight, a table set, voices waiting, the smell of bread drifting out. For the first time since the stroke, I don't feel like I'm returning to exile. I feel like I'm walking into a life I rebuilt with my own hands. The storm tried to break me. My children tried to erase me. But I am still here. And I am more than they ever imagined.